We've had two very interesting new snippets come out of YouTube recently, one of which could have serious implications on monetization of your content. So let's take a look.
vidIQ.
vidIQ.
vidIQ.com.
The first is a video on YouTube from the always informative Creator Insider YouTube team, and it talks about using profanity in your videos and how that affects monetization. There are no new policies or guidelines in this video, but it does help you determine what level of profanity is acceptable.
So these are like the F-bombs, the type of words that you don't hear on primetime TV, the words you wouldn't say to your mom.
Words that we will not say right now,
Exactly.
but we'll find a way to get them on the screen somehow.
Yep, exactly. So those are the type of words where you want to keep them out of the title, you want to keep them out of the thumbnail, and you want to avoid using repeatedly at the beginning of the video.
So I think you get a generally good understanding of what type of words you can and cannot use in your YouTube videos. And if you're still unsure, we do have the controversial keywords checker, which does check all of your tags, titles and descriptions for verbiage which we think is inappropriate. And it goes along the similar lines as what YouTube has just told you there. Something very interesting said in that video was to try and avoid profanities at the beginning of the video. And a lot of people asked the YouTube team about this, and they clarified by saying the beginning of a video is the first 30 seconds. So if you are going to drop any bombs of any kind, try and leave them until a few minutes into the video. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to watch the original video. The question that it still doesn't really answer for me is how automated is all of this process? Is there simply something at YouTube that looks at the tags, titles, descriptions, and then the auto captions of videos for the first 30 seconds? Or is there somebody manually checking all of this to make sure that YouTube doesn't make any mistakes? I suspect not, so what I would suggest you do is put a dolphin noise in every time you swear. On to the next new snippet then, which is more of a dossier, and it's a lot more concerning, because YouTube could be about to lay the smackdown on your candy bottom. Can we say candy bottom? Nice. This was posted in the YouTube Help community section on January the 15th and is rather ominously titled Strengthening Enforcement of Our Community Guidelines. To summarize, this document reminds you of what the community guidelines are on posting content on YouTube, and that they are going to enforce these guidelines more stringently in a couple of months. This could be interpreted several ways, a couple of which might be YouTube are finally going to go after all of those channels that you've been pointing out saying that the content is inappropriate, or lots of video creators who have been making content assuming that it's safe is suddenly not going to be because YouTube has effectively changed the goalposts on their community guidelines. I suppose in one sense you could argue that they're dialing up their policies to 11. Now there's a lot of interesting wording in this document because I think YouTube know that a lot of this is coming their way. It states, "We know transparent communication is important, so we are announcing these changes today alongside a grace period to allow time to review the updates and make changes to your content." What it also says is that content that was posted prior to these enforcement updates may be removed but will not receive a strike. So YouTube are being pretty clear here, they are laying their cards out on the table. Over the next couple of months, you need to sort out your content so that it meets the community guidelines. If you don't, you won't receive any restrictions or penalties to your channel such as strikes, but the content may be removed and it may not be monetizable. As well as that, content that you already have on your channel from potentially years ago is under scrutiny as well. So if in a couple of months time you start to see those yellow dollar icons again, your channel's being demonetized, you're getting strikes on your channel, YouTube is going to point to this document and say, "We told you so." The worry I have is that what YouTube is telling you in words doesn't always translate to the audio and visual format.
But did you know the vast majority of YouTube's flags don't come from people? They come from technology. We've developed powerful machine learning that detects content that may violate our policies and sends it for human review. In some cases, that same machine learning automatically takes an action, like removing spam videos.
And as a video creator, it would be that automation that worries me the most. Reading a document could be interpreted as saying, these are your community policies, we used to operate at this level, now we're operating at this level. And that could cause complete carnage, as we've seen before with Adpocalypse. My advice to you right now would be to get familiar, very familiar with this document. Get familiar with the 3 key policies: custom thumbnails, external links, dangerous challenges and pranks, and click on all of those links and read all of the documents thoroughly. If you are hit with any of this over the next couple of months, YouTube is going to point you to these documents, so you want to know them inside and out. I wish you the best of luck at getting your channels in order, and before we lay the blame on the obvious candidates such as YouTube and the advertisers, I think there's just one person we can hold responsible for this. Sandra Bullock and that bloody Netflix film.